GQ Smith has been a $10 patron for a long time, and he suggested I do videos on the God of War franchise. So instead of doing one big comprehensive video, how about I spend a whole month making 2 videos a week talking about this critically acclaimed blockbuster franchise. Starting at the beginning, but not the chronological beginning. God of War came out in 2005, which was right around the time I started getting into video games and Greek mythology. With that said, the two interests didn't overlap until around 2008, early 2009, when I borrowed God of War Chains of Olympus on PSP. But after I got hooked onto the franchise, I played through all of them over the course of a few weeks before God of War 3 came out. The story of the first game is quite simple. Ares is threatening to destroy the city of Athens, and because Zeus forbid the gods from waging war against each other, Athena tasks Kratos with finding a way to kill Ares. What follows is a gauntlet of gruesome combat, block puzzles, and platforming challenges as Kratos goes on this journey. The real meat comes with the backstory. Kratos was a Spartan who swore an oath of loyalty to Ares in exchange for power. Then Ares tricked him into slaughtering his family in a blind rage not too dissimilar from what happened with Hercules, and after that Kratos spent 10 years serving Zeus and Athena, hoping to atone for his sins. And they also made him think that they'll purge the memories of his family, so this isn't just another errand for Kratos. This is revenge. This is his final labor. It's an all-or-nothing conquest of carnage with Kratos' ultimate goal within reach. Kratos is not a good guy. He's not even a typical Greek hero who just suffers from a personality defect. He doesn't care about anyone but himself and will slaughter innocent people if it means completing his mission. And this is the root of his character arc that comes to a climax in God of War 3 and becomes the focal point in the 2018 soft reboot. The combat is a lot of fun, but it's also a little brainless. So long as you have semi-quick reflexes, you'll have no problem dodging and countering while keeping your combo up. As you level up, you gain access to a lot of new moves, but there's not much cause to use them. Only reason to use a lot of these moves is to stave off boredom. The main redeeming quality of the action is how visceral it is. All the aesthetics, from the creature designs, animation, sound design, and music, deserve every bit of credit for making this engaging. That's why God of War knockoffs like Dante's Inferno, Heavenly Sword, Darksiders, Lords of Shadow, and some of the God of War games, if I'm being honest, can't hold a candle to the classic God of War trilogy. The combat isn't engaging on a gameplay level. Everything else is what makes it cathartic and engaging on a level most games simply lack. There's plenty of games with better combat systems, but none of them serve double duty as stress relief quite like God of War. And that same level of detail goes into the environment. All of the Greek God of War games use the fixed camera, which makes directing more important. The camera is your only guide, and it's handled pretty well, though this first game suffers the most from it. There's a few areas where the camera is great when you're going forward, but an absolute mess if you're trying to backtrack at all. But it's functional and allowed the level designers to put way more detail into the levels than something like Devil May Cry 3, which came out that same year. And the ultimate result is Pandora's Temple, my favorite location in the entire franchise. It's a massive multi-layered trial chained to the back of Kronos, and it's where the majority of the game takes place. I'd say a little over half your playthrough will be dedicated to conquering all the trials in this temple, with the other half being spread out between the Aegean Sea, Athens, Hades, and the Desert of Lost Souls. The last thing I want to cover is the bosses. God of War is known for its cinematic and cathartic boss fights. Some of the most epic boss fights of all time can be found in this franchise, just not really here. The bosses are fine. The Hydra has a lot of really cool elements. I love the build-up to Pandora's Guardian Steampunk Minotaur, and Ares is very well defined and a perfect final boss for this game. But that's it. This game has less boss fights than any other game in the franchise. There's these 3, and then that minor Medusa fight, which I don't count. Even Chains of Olympus, which is a far shorter game, has 4 boss fights. In the end, God of War is an effective but oftentimes mindless, fluffy, and occasionally clunky experience. There's a lot here, good and bad, that will be built on and improved in subsequent games. But even for the time, in the era of Onimusha, Devil May Cry, and Ninja Gaiden, God of War is lacking and most certainly got overpraised. I give it a 7 out of 10 with the caveat that Santa Monica did not get cozy with all the perfect scores they were getting, and took strides to make the games far better. And I'll talk about that next time. I'm Mediocrity4, thanks for watching.